My husband left me alone in the car while I was having a baby and went on a trip with his parents. Just as she was about to eat, she heard John's unexpected return and rushed to the entrance. I'm back. Thanks for your hard work. But you said you didn't need dinner today, right? He said, a hint of sarcasm in his voice. Yeah, but my drinking party got canceled. I'm hungry. You have something to eat, right? Emily replied, her voice strained. Well, I only prepared a meal for myself today, she added, hoping he wouldn't make a scene. John's face contorted with anger. Didn't you even consider the possibility I might come back? This is unbelievable. He moved to the dining table, his mood worsening as he saw the dinner Emily had prepared. What do you call this, a meal? I seriously question if you're properly doing your duties as a housewife. Don't waste the money I'm working for. Emily, 9 months pregnant and filled with anxiety, felt a profound sense of blessing as she prepared to welcome her first child into the world. Her husband, John, a white-collar worker with weekends off, offered little support around the house or with shopping. Instead, he spent most weekends at his parents' home, a short distance away, cultivating a deep bond with his in-laws. Since becoming pregnant, Emily had been cautious about lifting heavy objects, relying on friends to help with groceries and other necessities. Her days began early, preparing breakfast for John before seeing him off to work. Afterward, she tackled cleaning, laundry, and shopping, returning home to prep dinner. Only then did she allow herself a moment of relaxation. Maternity leave had brought a new hobby: blogging. Every day, Emily wrote a diary entry accompanied by photos of her meals, the blue sky, blooming flowers in her garden, and more. The comments from friends and acquaintances brought her small daily joys. One evening, as Emily prepared dinner, John returned home, carelessly tossing his bag and jacket on the sofa. Welcome back, she said curtly, tidying up as she hung his belongings on a coat hanger. I made hamburgers for dinner. I'm going to take a bath. John headed straight for the bathroom. 3 years had passed since their marriage, and there was little kindness or consideration from him. Emily often wondered if this was truly what a marital relationship should be like, but she had resigned herself to it. When John emerged in his pajamas, Emily handed him a drink. Where's the beer? He asked, glancing at the bar. I'm sorry, I forgot to buy it today. I'll get some tomorrow. John's demeanor shifted. Seriously? Go to the convenience store now. His voice was laced with anger. Emily bristled. Why are you asking your pregnant wife to do this? If you want it so badly, why don't you go get it yourself? It's hard for me to move around with this big belly. John's anger escalated. You're the one who forgot to buy it. It's your job to fix that mistake. Just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you get special treatment. My mother always said it's important to keep moving for the sake of health. Knowing that John wouldn't calm down easily when angry, Emily reluctantly agreed to go to the convenience store. As she arrived, she bumped into Sophia, a neighbor. Oh, Sophia. Good evening, Emily greeted her. Good evening, Emily. Did you forget to buy something too? I ran out of sauce, Sophia replied, her cheerful voice momentarily lifting Emily's spirits. My husband really wanted beer, and he told me to buy it. Why didn't he just go himself? Emily lamented. That's what I said, but it didn't get through to him. It sounds like you're having a tough time, Emily, Sophia sympathized. After walking together for a bit, they parted ways at a crossroad. When Emily returned home, John was lounging on the sofa, watching TV, not even bothering to clean up after dinner. Why did it take you so long? What were you dawdling around for? Give me the beer, he grumbled, his words cutting like a knife. Emily's heart ached, but she handed him the beer silently and began cleaning up the meal. How could he say such things to her, especially when she was pregnant? She felt the urge to retort but didn't want another shouting match. Later, after dinner and a relaxing bath, Emily went to bed. The next morning, John acted as if nothing had happened. He seemed to forget everything after a good night's sleep, but Emily couldn't forget his words. She consciously ignored him. Why are you making that face so early in the morning? Don't take it out on me. I'm heading to work now, so be a bit considerate. You know the importance of appreciation, right? John said, his tone laced with irritation. Emily felt a surge of anger. That applies to you, doesn't it? She thought, but shock and disbelief left her speechless. She simply sighed deeply and saw him off. Be careful, right? I want dinner tonight. See you, he said. leaving in a hurry. John's face contorted with anger. Didn't you even consider the possibility I might come back? This is unbelievable. He moved to the dining table, his mood worsening as he saw the dinner Emily had prepared. What do you call this, a meal? I seriously question if you're properly doing your duties as a housewife. Don't waste the money I'm working for. Emily felt a wave of frustration. I quickly prepared something for myself. Please don't get mad like this. Maybe you should learn proper cooking from my mom. Honestly, I've always found your cooking lacking. John, as usual, compared her to his mother. Didn't he realize how hurtful these comparisons were? I can't eat this. Go buy something, he said, his voice dripping with disdain. Emily's heart sank further. What does he think of me? It's already night, and I've taken a bath. Can't you go buy it yourself? She thought, feeling a surge of anger. Forget it. You forgot to buy beer yesterday, didn't prepare dinner today. It's so frustrating. I'm going back to my parents' place. John stormed out, leaving Emily alone in the house. Strangely, she felt a sense of relief. The next morning, as expected, Emily received an angry call from John's mother. How can you not serve John a proper meal? This feels like moral harassment, if not worse, she fumed. Emily explained what had happened the previous day, but her mother-in-law refused to accept it. Emily apologized and ended the call, her mood plummeting. With John away, Emily decided to have a leisurely late brunch. However, the thought of John returning that night weighed heavily on her mind. Considering yesterday's events, she decided to make tonight's dinner special. She shopped with more care than usual, picking out ingredients and adding John's favorite beer to the cart. She was determined to prepare a dinner that would earn his praise. Emily shortened her blog update time to allocate more time to cooking. After dedicating ample time to preparations, the table was set beautifully, as if for a special occasion. Looking at it, she felt a sense of accomplishment and couldn't help but praise herself. With this, he should definitely be satisfied, she thought. She waited patiently in the dining room for John to come home. But as time passed, there was no sign of him. She tried contacting him several times via her smartphone, but there was no response. As the clock ticked past an hour, then two, Emily became increasingly anxious. Had he gone to his parents' house? She called John's parents to check, but they said he hadn't come there either. She tried calling him multiple times, but still there was no response. As midnight approached, just when Emily was considering contacting the police, a staggering John returned home, clearly drunk. I'm home, he slurred, barely able to stand. Emily rushed to the entrance, concerned. What happened? Are you okay? Hearing her voice, he responded angrily. Too loud. Go away. He then staggered towards the dining room. When Emily tried to support him, he forcefully shook off her hand. Don't touch me. Don't come near me with that ugly face. To think you're my wife. He spat out those words in his drunken state, then just lay down right there on the floor. Emily was shocked. Why couldn't he consider her feelings? His remarks hurt her deeply, and she was filled with thoughts of him no longer seeing her as family. Tears welled up in her eyes. She had put so much effort into cooking, all for nothing. With a heavy heart, Emily ate her dinner alone, enveloped in loneliness. The next morning, John woke up as if nothing had happened. My head hurts. I guess I drank too much. But why did you leave me in the hallway? You chose to lie down there, John. It's not my fault. Aren't you my wife? At least take care of me when I'm drunk, he said, blaming her as usual. If you weren't going to eat at home, you could have at least let me know. I have prepared a nice meal, and I called you multiple times. Why didn't you answer then? Emily asked, her voice trembling with frustration. John replied nonchalantly, my drinking party from the day before got rescheduled to yesterday. Do I have to report everything? Besides, you know how hard it is to pick up the phone during a gathering. Think about my situation. With every word John said, Emily's heart grew colder, and her expectations of him diminished. She wouldn't feel hurt or disappointed anymore. This thought lingered in her mind as she made the decision to take a break and go back to her parents' home tomorrow. Being with John lately felt unpleasant and boring. Seeing his attitude of looking down on her made her increasingly consider the option of divorce. Their baby was due soon, and Emily's heart raced in anticipation. Even though she had heard stories about the pains of labor from friends, her excitement to meet the new life inside her overshadowed those concerns. The neighbors often encouraged her with words like it's just a little while longer, which brightened her mood. John returned home and made a surprising suggestion. "Hey, want to go on a family trip soon?" he asked. "Really? But I'm talking about a family trip. My mom and dad want to join," he clarified. Emily was taken aback. Why would his parents make such a proposal? Tensions existed between her and John's parents. Whenever there was an issue concerning John, they tended to blame her, like the previous phone call incident. However, the sudden idea of a trip left her doubtful. "I'm about to give birth soon, and traveling a long distance might be a bit risky," she said cautiously. John replied, "How many times do I have to tell you? Just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you're sick. My parents are thoughtfully inviting us. But what if something happens? It'll be fine. Everything's already decided. We'll go for 2 nights and 3 days next week." "Next week? That's my due date." "That's a bit. Just do as you're told. Prepare for the trip." End of discussion. John interrupted, cutting her off before she could finish her sentence. He expressed his opinion and then left the room. "I'm in trouble now," Emily thought to herself. The next day, she sought advice from a close friend, explaining the situation. Her friend was concerned. "That's a bit too much," she said. As Emily contemplated how to decline the offer, the date of the trip suddenly arrived. "Actually, I'm not feeling well today. I'm worried about the baby, so I'm going to rest at home." Emily tried to use that as an excuse, but John didn't seem convinced. "Anyway, you can just rest in the car and you'll be fine, right? Come on, bring a luggage. We're heading to my parents' house, so hurry up," he said, not giving her a chance to argue. As they headed to the car, Emily was worried. "Is this really okay?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. After loading their luggage into the car and sitting in the passenger seat, Emily felt warmth at her feet. Looking down, she noticed water spreading around them. "Oh my water broke," she exclaimed, immediately informing John. "John, I think my water just broke. Please take me to the hospital quickly." Taken aback by the situation, John exclaimed, "Are you serious?" "Yes, I'm serious. We need to go to the hospital now. The baby might be coming." While trying to clean up the water with a towel in the car, John suddenly opened the passenger door. "John, what are you doing? We need to go to the hospital. Get out. You're going to make a mess in the car," Emily said, her voice rising in panic. She was in complete shock. "What are you saying?" "I said get out. I need to clean the car," John insisted, his voice cold and uncaring. John forcefully pulled Emily out of the car. "In this unbelievable situation," he said, "I can't believe this. We were supposed to be on a family trip. Just go to the hospital by yourself." Emily was too shocked to say anything. "Wait, how can you leave me here like this?" she called out to him, her voice filled with desperation. John drove away, leaving Emily behind, feeling overwhelmed and abandoned. She quickly dialed for an ambulance. As she stood there, feeling lost and alone, someone approached her. "Emily, are you okay?" It was Sophia, looking concerned. She immediately recognized Emily's predicament and arranged for a special taxi, comforting her throughout the journey. Grateful for her kindness, tears streamed down Emily's face. Soon after, Emily safely arrived at the hospital, thanks to Sophia's help. On the way, Sophia held Emily's hand and cheered her up, staying by her side until she was taken to her room. While being transferred, Emily made a silent bow. "I will make him pay for this." As labor pains grew, Sophia kept holding Emily's hand. Furthermore, she contacted Emily's parents, who soon arrived at the hospital, looking deeply concerned. "There's something I want to discuss," Sophia whispered to them, then left the room with Emily's parents. As the labor pains intensified, Emily's smartphone vibrated from a corner of the room. "Who is it?" she asked, her voice strained. "John's name," her parents responded, looking displeased. Emily took the call anyway. As soon as she answered, she heard a panicky John. "Help me," he cried. But Emily was in no state or mood to converse with him. She promptly ended the call. Despite her parents turning off her phone, John continued to send messages as the labor intensified. Finally, Emily was moved to the delivery room. After enduring the pain for some time, she finally heard her baby's cries. Exhausted, she saw her parents and Sophia standing before her with warm smiles. Relieved, she closed her eyes and rested. When she woke up after a few hours of sleep, she found herself lying in the hospital bed. Rubbing her eyes, she noticed her parents sitting next to her, their faces filled with concern. "Are you okay?" her mother asked gently. Still feeling the weight of exhaustion, Emily couldn't muster the energy to sit up. Her father looked teary-eyed. Her mother consoled him, saying the postpartum period can be exhausting. Witnessing this heartwarming scene, a smile formed on Emily's face. "How's the baby?" she inquired. Her parents informed her that the baby was undergoing some tests but would be back in the room soon. However, she noticed Sophia wasn't present. Responding to Emily's unspoken question, her mother remarked, "Sophia left a little while ago." Thinking about how things might have turned out had Sophia not been there, a feeling of gratitude settled over Emily. She made a promise with her parents that after being discharged, she would visit Sophia to express her gratitude. Turning on her smartphone to inform her friends about the birth, Emily was met with an overwhelming number of missed calls, mostly from John. The sheer number left her momentarily stunned, but she felt no hope or expectation from his calls. So she closed the notifications without hesitation. One of Emily's friends visited the hospital room to congratulate her on the birth. As she rejoiced and extended her genuine wishes, Emily opened up about the recent incidents with John. After hearing the story, her friend expressed both shock and anger, half-jokingly saying she'd like to punish him a bit. But she also emphasized that Emily's health and rest were paramount. She chatted with Emily for a while and then left. Emily's parents, already briefed by Sophia about the whole episode, asked, "What are you planning to do next?" Emily shared her thoughts about her relationship with John and told her parents she was considering divorce. They respected her decision and provided their support. Upon her discharge, Emily planned to stay at her parents' house, where they had prepared a room for her. Meanwhile, John seemed to have visited the hospital, but as Emily had informed the hospital staff that she didn't wish to see him, he wasn't allowed in. The next day, Sophia came to Emily's hospital room, holding a fruit basket. "Sophia, you came," Emily exclaimed with delight. "You seem to be recovering well, but remember not to overexert yourself. Postpartum fatigue can be quite profound," Sophia advised, her words offering comfort and support. Emily felt a surge of relief. Taking the fruit basket from her, she said, "Sophia, thank you so much for helping me. I don't know what would have happened if you weren't there." She expressed her deep gratitude, bowing deeply. Sophia gently laughed. "What's most important is that both you and the baby are healthy. I just want to lend a small hand. Regardless, I'm forever grateful. Once things settle down, I'll come over to thank you properly," Emily said, her voice filled with sincerity. Sophia laughed warmly in response. "You know, I've talked to my husband about what happened. He seemed quite furious." From her words, Emily could somewhat deduce John's situation. "Sophia, I'm truly sorry for dragging you into this mess," Emily admitted, feeling a wave of guilt. "Don't worry. Remember who you owe for being able to work at your current company. This incident is truly hard to forget," Sophia said, her voice taking on a stern tone for the first time. Emily was surprised. Sophia was actually the wife of the CEO at the company where her husband worked. When they first moved to this residential area, Emily had no idea about this fact. However, as they frequently encountered each other at the local supermarket, shops, and occasionally at convenience stores, they gradually became closer. They even began to enjoy tea together, and during these sessions, Emily learned about the nature of Sophia's husband's job. On the other hand, her husband was completely unaware of this background, as he didn't even accompany her for their initial neighborhood greetings, and didn't prefer interacting with their neighbors. Sophia had previously told Emily gently, "I don't want to cause any trouble, so don't tell your husband." Emily had respected that request. Knowing that Emily was pregnant and still being forced to endure her husband's unreasonable behavior, Sophia had several times suggested, "Should I talk to my husband about this?" However, Emily had always declined, not wanting to trouble her. But with this recent incident, perhaps even Sophia reached her limit. That's why her husband kept calling Sophia. "I really can't thank you enough for everything," Emily said, her voice choked with emotion. Sophia's strong words made Emily realize how fortunate she was to have someone who would go to such lengths for her. She couldn't help but tear up. Seeing Emily's reaction, Sophia once again gave her a warm smile. "Emily, you're a dear friend to me. I can't just stand by and watch when something like this happens to a friend." Their conversation was filled with heartfelt smiles, but John's messages didn't stop. Despite the barrage of notifications online, Emily consciously ignored them all. Thinking about the divorce made her mind clear, and all she wanted was to think about how to live her life with her baby. As Emily was preparing to leave the hospital, a close friend visited her room, handing her her smartphone and saying, "I want you to see this." Displayed on her friend's phone was a post that had become a major topic on a certain social media platform. When Emily asked what it was about, her friend informed her that she had posted about John's recent actions on social media. Her friend had a significant influence on social media, with a massive follower count. One day, she received a reply to one of her posts. The follower who replied had, by chance, captured a video of the scene where Emily was yelled at by John after being pulled out of the car. The follower, wanting to protect Emily's privacy, blurred her face in the video, and with Emily's friend's permission, shared it online. The video spread like wildfire, and as a result, personal details about John and even his company were identified. Currently, John seemed to be under a barrage of criticism online. Emily had no idea it had escalated to this level. Her friend, smiling gently, remarked, "Well, they brought it upon themselves, didn't they? John's actions and their consequences were all a result of choices he made." Furthermore, when one of John's friends confronted him about the incident, he reportedly excused himself, saying, "I had a prior travel commitment with my parents that day, so I had no choice." Because of this statement, not only John, but also his parents began to face criticism online. The story spread even in the vicinity of Emily's in-laws' home, and there seemed to be various topics related to John's parents circulating on social media. Suddenly, Emily's phone started ringing. When she checked the screen, it was a call from her mother-in-law. "That's for your mother-in-law," Emily's friend said, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Why don't you pick up and give her a piece of your mind?" However, Emily was so fed up that she felt no words to do so. She decided to ignore it. Before she knew it, the missed calls log was filled with names of her husband, father-in-law, and mother-in-law. Ever since the incident was highlighted on social media, even the hospital staff seemed to be aware of Emily's situation and started offering genuine support. Whether John or his in-laws came to the hospital or called multiple times, the hospital staff didn't allow any contact with Emily. As her discharge date approached, Emily had one pressing worry: whether John and his in-laws might be lurking outside the hospital. Her parents reassured her, saying, "You have nothing to worry about." But the thought of her precious baby being in danger left her anxious. However, that concern was quickly dispelled on the day of her discharge. As her parents were helping her with her belongings, she heard John's voice shouting, "Emily," followed by the loud voices of her in-laws. Suddenly, men in black suits surrounded Emily, forming a protective barrier. As she tried to understand what was happening, one of the men approached her gently, opening the car door. "Don't worry, we're here on Sir's request to protect you," he said, his voice calm and reassuring. It seemed Emily's parents were already aware of this, as her mom said, smiling, "Didn't I tell you there's nothing to worry about?" Believing her words, Emily felt relieved and smoothly got into the car. All the while, John and his in-laws, overwhelmed by the presence of the bodyguards, couldn't come any closer. "I can't find the words to express how grateful I am for Sophia supporting me like this," Emily thought, her heart filled with gratitude. The only thing occupying her mind was how to reciprocate Sophia's kindness. Her parents felt the same, saying in unison, "We have to find a way to show our gratitude to Sophia." Although Emily's new life began smoothly and pleasant days continued, the contacts from John and his in-laws never ceased. She mailed them the divorce papers, but there wasn't even a hint of acceptance. One day, Emily's in-laws called their home. It seemed Emily's father answered, and they addressed him with the attitude of, "She became a part of our family, so no matter how she's treated, she shouldn't complain." When Emily's father angrily retorted to their statement, it seemed they were taken back and quickly hung up. While discussing how to handle this with her parents, Emily decided that seeking professional assistance was the best course of action and resolved to consult a lawyer. Coincidentally, her father was acquainted with a lawyer, and when they explained their situation, he graciously promised to help. Emily informed the lawyer of the videos circulating on social media and detailed past events. When the lawyer reached out on their behalf, John was initially taken aback. However, over time, he became defiant. "We'll solve marital issues ourselves. We don't need a lawyer," he argued in a fled tone. However, the lawyer calmly responded, "I'm acting upon Emily's request. Any future communication should be directed to me. It's up to Emily, my client, to decide whether or not she wants to involve a lawyer. John was at a loss for words. Though initially refusing to divorce, when mediation and the possibility of a court case were suggested, the word court seemed to shake him, and he reluctantly agreed to the divorce. I have no interest in the child and have no intention of seeing them in the future, so I don't see why I should pay child support. As for property distribution, I did nothing wrong, he claimed irrationally. The lawyer calmly explained from a legal perspective, but John still seemed unconvinced. In that case, it seems we'll meet in court, the lawyer suggested. Emily's in-laws, who were listening nearby, appeared to panic and immediately agreed. When Emily was informed of this by the lawyer, she was shocked that she had ever married such a man. Emily had been communicating with Sophia since returning to her parents' home. When she told her about the recent events, Sophia playfully and gleefully suggested, "How about seizing your ex-husband's retirement pay? Garnishment is one way, right?" Feeling overwhelmed by Sophia's astuteness, a while later, Emily was contacted by the lawyer, who conveyed that John wished to apologize in person, wanting a satisfactory conclusion. Emily agreed to converse over the phone under the supervision of the lawyer. The day of the scheduled call arrived. On that day, Emily was accompanied by her parents and the lawyer. From the other end of the line, she heard John's voice. "Finally, you answer. Apologize now, and I'll forgive you. So come back home. Let's be a couple again. The house is a mess. I might lose my job, and everyone's looking at me coldly. All of this is your fault, so take responsibility," he said, his voice filled with desperation and anger. He continued to bombard Emily with accusations, but she calmly chose how to react. When he said, "See, you can't even reply properly, truly a woman with no redeeming qualities," Emily finally responded, "Just so you know, this conversation is being recorded. I'll keep it as evidence. Goodbye." Hearing this, John's voice revealed his shock. "Wait, you recorded it? That's not fair, right? I was joking. I'm sorry. I can't live without you. Let's start over. We truly loved each other, right? I promise I'll try harder from now on." After hearing those words, Emily immediately hung up the phone. With the recorded conversation in hand, she handed it to the lawyer and asked, "Can you utilize this audio as evidence?" Shaking his head in disbelief, the lawyer remarked, "He truly is an incorrigible man." Emily's parents, feeling the same as her, had firmly decided to sever ties with him. Seeing his behavior filled them more with astonishment and disappointment than anger. At some point, Emily realized she was slightly enjoying this drama, clinging to the little devilish side of her that emerged. The divorce procedures with John concluded smoothly. Both the property distribution and child support agreements went forward without a hitch, and the turmoil began to subside. Due to the information Sophia shared with her husband, the president of John's company, he was promptly disciplined. The president, known for his family-oriented values, believed that an employee who couldn't protect his family couldn't be trusted by the company. John lost his job, couldn't make housing loan payments, and returned to his parents' home. His reputation was tarnished by the viral video, and he struggled to find stable employment, barely making ends meet with short-term part-time jobs. Rumors spread about his parents too, and according to reports from Emily's friends in the neighborhood, they seemed to live in perpetual unease. The cold societal judgment they faced, which exceeded Emily's expectations, made her think that surprisingly, this ostracization might be harder for them than any legal repercussions. With most matters settled and Emily's health recovering, her parents, her baby, and she visited Sophia's home to express their gratitude. Both Sophia and her husband seemed genuinely happy and doted on Emily's baby, making them feel warm and welcomed. After that, Sophia and Emily's mother became close friends. Similarly, Sophia's husband and Emily's father got along very well, and their families grew close. Furthermore, Sophia and her husband's son was around Emily's age, and to everyone's surprise, their relationship began to develop in an unexpected direction. A few years later, the idea that Emily might actually become a part of Sophia's family was something no one could have ever predicted. Life truly is full of surprises. After watching full story, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe for more awesome stories like this. Stay blessed and healthy. Thank you for watching and see you in the next story.